Yo, what's good, guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So, today's story time, definitely an interesting one. I made the mistake of leaving my Xbox on while I'm recording this, and I'm too lazy to turn around and turn it off, so if you hear any invite notifications, it's probably just the same kid inviting me to play Minecraft for the 13th time. Look, guys, I love all of you, and I love Minecraft, but 13 times is a little excessive, okay? You're probably wondering why I have my Xbox on. For some reason, I've just been playing a bunch of old MW2 from 2009, just trying to get the nuke. Why? I don't know. I'm trying to make a promise to my young self because I never really got a lot of nukes. So yeah, I'm just being a boomer, I guess. But anyway, that's besides the point. Today's story time is a very interesting one. And judging by the title, I'm sure you already know that. So leave a like on the video if you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So today's story time all takes place back in 2019. So a pretty good year, to be honest. I love 2019. When I think of my most fun years, I think about 2019, 2016, and a little bit of 2017 and 18, but that span is just a great time, right? Now in 2019, I had moved home from LA back to New York. I'd been living back in New York for about a year, and I had my own apartment, and the apartment that I had at the time was on a main street in my city, but I lived pretty high up. I lived on the 9th floor of my apartment building, so I could open the window and let fresh air in and kind of look down on the sidewalk in the street and see everybody. But because I lived in the city, I was definitely happy to be higher up because the lower apartments would sometimes get broken into. So yeah, I was excited to not be super close to the street because that worried me. And one night at my apartment, I was 2 in the morning. I was sitting in my living room watching Netflix. I was watching Stranger Things because at the time I hadn't seen all of it yet. So I was watching, I think, season 3 of Stranger Things. And I was just chilling there on my couch, enjoying it, watching the kids from Hawkins fight Demogorgons. I was enjoying myself, right? I was having a nice chill night, nice summer night. The breeze was coming in. It was great. And I hear yelling from outside. And it was very loud yelling because I had my TV all the way up. So the fact that I could hear someone screaming and yelling from the street 9 floors below over my TV was crazy. So I paused the TV because I'm okay, there's definitely some drama going on. I want to check it out. So I paused the TV. I get up off the couch. I walk over to the window and I see this man, this lone man in the middle of the street screaming up in the air, just aimlessly, "Help! Help me! Please, somebody help!" And he doesn't look like a homeless guy. He doesn't look like he was physically hurt or anything from what I could see, but he was yelling for help. So I yelled back and I was like, "What's up, man? Up here." And he looks over at the window and he's like, "Oh, thank you so much for answering. Can you come down here and help me?" Now, like I said, I was living in the city. So going down to the dark street in the middle of the city in the middle of the night to help a random stranger, as much as I really wanted to, I was nervous about getting robbed or something. So I yelled back and I was like, "What do you need help with, man? Maybe I can help you from up here." And he was like, "No. I need shelter. I need somewhere comfortable, somewhere quiet. It's too crazy in these streets." And I'm thinking to myself, what the hell does that mean? It's too crazy in these streets. Is this guy homeless or something? So I ask him what he means. I'm like, "What do you mean it's too crazy in the streets?" He's like, "Bro, okay, I'm going to be honest. I took too much acid. I was out with some homies at a bar, and now I'm having a really bad trip, and I'm really scared and I'm lost." So now that he says this, I'm like, okay, this guy's probably telling the truth, so I'm going to go help him. So I left my apartment, went down in the elevator, went out to the dark street in the middle of the night, approached this guy. And let me just say, if you're ever in this situation, you probably shouldn't do this, okay? Looking back, going and leaving my apartment onto this street that was kind of dangerous in the middle of the night to help some stranger. As much as I was being a good guy, I was I could have gotten into a lot of shit. Sometimes people pull really elaborate schemes to rob people. So this could have just been one big setup. And I'm lucky it wasn't. But yeah, anyway, I went down the elevator. I walked out of my apartment doors. I walked up to him. I was like, "What's up, man?" And immediately he runs up to me with tears in his eyes and gives me the biggest hug ever. And after seeing him in person, up close, I realized this guy's the same age as me. I thought he was way older because from far away he looked older. But when I actually got up to him in person, close up, he seemed probably about the same age. So I asked him, I was like, "Yo, how old are you?" He's like, "I'm 23. I was like, "Okay, so you're not that much older than I am." He's like, "Yeah, how old are you?" I was like, "I'm 20. He's like, "All right, cool, man. Well, yeah, dude, I took a bunch of acid. I'm not feeling good. I don't know what was in it, but I'm not having a good trip." And I was like, "How much did you take?" He's like, "1 tab. I'm like, "Okay, what are you seeing? What's going on? Walk me through it." He's like, "Bro, I keep hearing horns, loud, symphonies that are out of tune." And I was like, symphonies, like orchestra, like strings and stuff. He's like, yeah, but like horns, specifically like loud like trumpets and trombones and stuff. And I'd never heard that in a trip before. So like that sounds super overstimulating and super scary. I can only imagine hearing like out of tune horns, like an Insidious movie or something, some horror type shit. And he's like, and I keep seeing things, man. Like, I can't tell if the crosswalk is telling me to cross or not. I'm freaked out. I'm gonna get hit by a car. I'm just nervous, bro. I lost my friends. My phone's dead. Like, I just need help. I need to like charge my phone and like call them. And I was like, all right, do you have your phone on you? He's like, yeah. And he pulls it out, and it is dead. He's not lying. And I'm like, do you have a charger? He's like, no. I'm like, all right, well, come upstairs. You can chill in my apartment, and I'll look for a charger for your phone. Now, he had an Android, I had an iPhone, but I figured somewhere upstairs in my apartment, I probably had like a micro USB cable that would fit his phone. So I brought him up the elevator, we went to my apartment, and he sits down on my couch and just bursts out into tears, like instantly. He's like crying. And he's like, I can't take this, man. Like, this is just overwhelming, bro. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, nothing's making this better. I was like, bro, hang tight. We're gonna get your phone on. We'll call your homies. Like, it's gonna be fine. He's like, bro, what if my friends are like hurt or something? I was like, why would they be hurt? He's like, bro, they took the acid too. Like, what if they're having a bad trip like me and like they're lost too? I'm like, bro, I'm sure they're fine. So I end up finding a cable that fits his phone. We get it charged. Like 10 minutes later, it's on. He calls his friends. They answer. And they're like, yo, where you at, bro? Michael, where you at? His name was Michael. And he's like, I'm at this random dude's apartment. Like some random dude in the city, like let me in to charge my phone. And they're like, okay, what's the address? And I give them the address of the phone. And like within 15 minutes, they walked to my apartment. They were down the street at some bar that was like walking distance. So they walked to my apartment. When they said they were there at the front door, we went down the elevator and met them there at the main entrance. And the story just gets better at this point. So this guy next to me is still freaking out, right? Like just having the worst acid trip of his life. Literally has tears streaming down his face. Not having a good time, right? And I opened the main entrance to my apartment and let his friends into the lobby so they can all, reunite and, go off on their way. And hopefully that guy's a better trip because he's with his friends now. But when I open the main entrance door and they come in, one of them immediately looks at me. Well, he's tripping, keep in mind. They're all on acid. This guy looks at me and he goes, yo, you look really familiar. Is your name Austin? And I was like, yeah, that's my name. Who are you? And he's like, bro, I knew it. I knew you lived here. And I was like, do we know each other? He's like, no, bro, like from YouTube. I watch your videos. And I was like, holy shit. Nice to meet you, man. What's your name? He's like, my name's Josh, bro. Like, I've heard your stories. Like, you talk about where you're from and stuff. And, like, I knew it was this city. And I was like, yeah? He's like, bro, I just didn't think to run into you while I'm in the middle of an acid trip. Like, are you sure you're even real? And he starts laughing because he knew I was real. He was just making a joke. But his other homie didn't like that, the one that was having a bad trip. He started freaking out after he said that. And he's like, man, I just want to go home. Can someone just take me home, please? Like, I'm not having a fun time right now. Like, I know you guys are having a fun time, but I'm not. And the dude, Josh, was like, dude, relax. We're leaving right now. I have the Uber on the way. Like, see? And he shows him. And that calmed him down a little bit. And, they pretty much had to sit around in my main lobby apartment and just, like, calm their friend down from crying and having a terrible trip. Well, meanwhile, they had an amazing trip. But the story doesn't end there, okay? It gets even better. So while they're in the main lobby of my apartment waiting for an Uber, right? We're all just sitting there and I'm talking to this Josh dude about YouTube and stuff. And like he's asking me how I got started and how long it's been since I started. They're just waiting for their Uber, right? And we're talking. Out of nowhere, this random guy from outside runs up to the main entrance of my apartment doors, like the main lobby, and starts slamming on the front door, screaming, let me in, let me in, let me the fuck in. And of course, that freaked everybody out, even me, and I wasn't even on acid. Everyone else was, though, so that really freaked them out. And literally, I thought this dude needed help, so I was about to go to the front doors and let him in. And that Josh dude, the one that liked my videos, was like, don't let him in, bro. I got a bad feeling. And I'm like, are you sure, man? Like, I think he needs help. And right after I said that, out of nowhere, bro, 2 cop cars pull up in, like, the parking lot of my apartment building, and these cops jump out of their SUVs, run up to the main entrance and tackle this guy at the front door and cuff him. And I can hear them through the door yelling at him. They're like, stop resisting, stop resisting. We've been chasing you for fucking 30 minutes. Like, stop resisting. And I'm standing there like, yo, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, this night just keeps, like, twisting and unfolding in ways I can't even predict. And after that, the cops knock on the front door. I had to let them in. They asked us if any of us knew this guy. We were like, no, we just, like, are here kicking it while they're waiting for a ride. I live here. And then after that, the cops just left. They took the guy and put him in the back of the car and just drove off after saying bye. And then like a few minutes later, those guys, their Uber pulled up and they left. And I said goodbye to them. And I was just left alone in my apartment lobby, sitting there looking at my like shoes, just sitting there like, yo, I gotta move or some shit, yo. Like, what just happened in the span of 1 hour? Like, this is crazy. I remember being so nervous that I called up one of my friends that lived down the street, and I was like, yo, I'm having a weird night, bro. Can you, like, come kick it for a little bit? Because, like, I'm nervous. He's like, what's going on, dude? And I was like, well, in the span of, like, an hour, I let a man into my apartment because he was having a bad acid trip, and then I met a fan that knew that guy, and then while they were waiting for their Uber to get picked up, a cop chase kind of ensued. And I don't know what's going on anymore. He's like, oh shit, dude, I'll be right there. Sounds interesting. So my homie came over and hung out for a couple hours and we just like watched Stranger Things. Then he dipped and I went to sleep. But it was definitely one of the weirdest nights I've ever had since moving back to my hometown in New York. So yeah, moral of the story is, if you ever move out on your own, make sure you live in a nice area, because the area I lived in was like really nice in the day and then kind of sketchy at night. So definitely avoid places like that. But yeah, guys, that's the story of like how I let a guy into my house. I was having a bad acid trip and then a bunch of other stuff happened. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I would really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys all later. Peace.
I be fully loaded, I be whipping foreign cars. Always stay devoted, mama knew I'd be a star. Now I'm steady flowing, feeling like I'm high as Mars.